Yo, what up, y'all? Thank y'all so much for joining me today, man. I'm just gonna dive right in, man. Today we have a Call of Duty Modern Warfare performance video. That's right, across the map. So you're gonna see how the PS5 is going to do, the Xbox Series X and S, and the PC, maybe even PS4. So before we jump into that video, man, I would just like to say a few things, man. So we have been having people that love the game, like the game, and they can't stand the game. Some people even went far as returning the game. They don't even want to support the game. We had people hating on the game, saying that, you know, its footsteps are too loud. They're moving the pink dots on the shooting map. The maps are horrible. I don't know. It's all kind of different. And then you have the other crowd that loves the game. They love the campaign mode. They say it's the best thing since sliced bread. So in order for you to judge that, you're pretty much going to have to buy the game or play the game for yourself. But I do have a performance video because we have a lot of people out here wondering, how do this game performs? Is it better than the last game? Is it better, than the 2019? I would say, is it better than all of the other ones like Vanguard? Can they get back to Call of Duty, the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare since the 360 era? Can we get back to those days, like just gaming and having fun with our friends on live, live chat, and getting back to actually competing and making this game, a AAA banger that we can remember for generation after generation? Something kind of like, I would say, Grand Theft Auto. Like let's say 5-10 years down the line, we can come back to this game and say, hey man, let's play that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on Xbox Series X or S or PC or PS5. This is the kind of Call of Duty that I want it to be, because we really miss those days. You guys remember back in those 360 days, I think PS3 days, when that was the golden era. I mean, that was just like Call of Duty when they were in their prime. That was when Battlefield and Call of Duty was going at it neck and neck. So those are the days that I'm really hoping that we're getting back to. From some people saying yes, some people saying no, but we'll have to see, man, because I got some footage on pretty much on gameplay and the performance. So now you can kind of determine, okay, yeah, this game is for me, or this game is like, nah, this game ain't gonna make the cut. It is nothing like 2019. It's nothing like the 360 era. So before we jump into it, man, make sure you smash that like button, baby. So here we go. We're just gonna dive right into it so they can pretty much break down everything for you guys. So let's go.
The Series X and the Series S with a look at the PC and the PS4 to get a full view of just what Infinity Ward are delivering here. The game plays as you would expect, a series of set pieces running all the way through, but it can be the biggest visual spectacle the engine updates offer. And here we're seeing an improvement and iteration over the previous releases rather than anything significantly new. This means that resolutions all top out and bottom out at very similar to almost identical settings as the previous 3 releases that I've covered. A reconstruction technique used on the horizontal axis of the title across all formats, unless of course you've got a PC to turn that option off, meaning the PS4 and the Series X come in at the 60Hz mode at least, at 3840 by 2160, but it's actually a reconstruction of 1920 by 2160. Their TAA reconstruction method then brings all that information together to present a 3840 width screen, which predominantly does a very good job of convincing you it's a full 4K output. One of the issues with the visual quality though, specifically in darker areas and post-processing, is the fact that it uses a heavy dithered rendering technique which can leave stippled edges that the TAA has to pick up, and that doesn't always work very well, and therefore you end up with a noisy image at times, and this is exacerbated the lower down that resolution chain you go. And that brings in the Series S, which comes in with a target output of 2560 by 1440, but again, that's at a half width reconstruction technique, which means visually it's very close to the other versions. There are some reductions in things like quality, level of detail, LOD, but overall it's the same game with some sacrifices here and there, but the cutback on resolution over 60% is the biggest sacrifice here, and you get a lower image quality from it, and again it's that half width construction. These are all at the 60Hz modes, the only modes that the last generation consoles offers. So in the PS4, this is actually targeting a 1920 by 1080p output, but again, it's only really rendering 960 by 1080. So overall, this has some further reductions even on the Series S, but a lower resolution overall, but performance can also be affected, which is a perfect time to talk about that in terms of the 60 FPS mode. So covering the Series X and the PlayStation 5 first, predominantly in all my tested sections and some of the heaviest moments in the title I could find throughout the first few hours, I found not one single drop on all of them. So the PS5 and the Series X, no matter what I could throw at it, just held on to that 60 FPS flat line with no issues at all. So if you do want the most consistent version on a 60Hz screen, then turn this mode on, it ticks the box on both consoles. Now that's not the case for the Series S, unfortunately, which can struggle to hold 60 FPS in some of the same sections which are locked on the other consoles, and that means it can come down to somewhere around the 50s to even high 40s at certain points. But it's not just the fact that it's dropping frames, it also tears adaptively on this version, the same as the Series X. Both PlayStation versions, the PS4 and the PS5, are fully V-synced, they don't tear at all, they just drop frames. So this can get you back 5, maybe 10% performance gain, and this is obviously the reason why they're running it on both Xbox consoles, but this still means that you're dipping below that 60 FPS line, and in addition to that, you're getting tearing when it does, which leaves the Series S actually performing worse, in my opinion, than even the PS4, and that is a great shame, considering the fact that this has got nothing to do with the hardware itself. It's more powerful than the PlayStation 4, and therefore it should be outperforming it both in visual quality and in performance, and unfortunately, overall, that's not the case. So overall, this 60 FPS version can have some issues on the Series S. There are other areas where it's perfectly locked and there's no issues at all, but in most heavy combat you're going to feel those dips and judder and notice the tearing.
Hold your fire. We'll dig in until my men are clear. Multiple vehicles.
So, to ensure there's no confusion, that doesn't mean the PS4 is a completely locked 60 FPS. Like I say, it has no tearing, which is the benefit, but it still drops frames, and 99% of the time that's no further than the next refresh of 33 milliseconds, but in combat it can be similar to what we're seeing on the Series S. There are some heavier sections with explosions and heavy combat, but they dip around the same levels or sometimes worse on the Series S as they do on the PS4, admittedly with higher effects and higher resolution, but that's a caveat and balance the team should have managed. Overall, in the same sections tested between the PS4 and the Series S, you're getting almost the same performance, arguably back and forth, but the PS4 wins out because that doesn't have any adaptive V-Sync, and therefore you're getting no unsightly tearing and arguably exactly the same or slightly better performance. It's almost certainly the lead platform for the entire engine development, and that shows even comparing it against the PC. You're not seeing a significant improvement. Yes, you are seeing improvement in things like tessellation, texture details, resolution obviously, and even performance and other effects, but overall it's the same game with a nicer lick of paint on top. But fundamentally the PS4 version is what you're getting on every piece of hardware you play, with some boost to visuals and performance across that dependent on your hardware. And the results here demonstrate that quite clearly. Looking at these two versions side by side, you would think they were from the same platform, but in fact there is a few bugs and issues on the PC version over above the consoles, but fundamentally you're getting identical versions, visual quality and makeup across every single level in this title, and you're not missing out anything playing it on the PS4, the Xbox One even, although the resolution on that is even lower. Its cross-gen roots stand out quite proud, even though there's a nicer lick of paint overall, it's not a significant leap. And that obviously carries over comparing to the Series X and PS5, which are absolutely identical from every area. The only minor change I could notice is the PlayStation 4 runs better shadow resolution than the Series X and the Series S, and in fact the PlayStation 4 does as well, so it's likely a platform solution here. Now the IW engine does run a software-based variable rate shading, which is for texture details being reduced to 2, 4, 8x8 grids to reduce the cost on the GPU. You can see this sometimes in the textures flickering and popping around. This is identical across all versions, it's not a hardware-based solution. This might be the cause of it, and I did pick this up in the beta as well, but overall it's such a minor change that I'm almost sure no one would notice it. Visually, every mode is identical. The only other small change is there's a reduction in LOD and level of detail, sometimes to texture assets as well, in the 120 FPS mode over the 60 FPS mode across all platforms. It's very minor, but it was noted. Now Now with all the modes and comparisons taken care of, we can move into that 120Hz mode that all three consoles offer in the Series X, Series S and the PlayStation 5. The game fully supports VRR, so if you do have a VRR screen on all three consoles, then you can turn that on and you will not get any tearing, although it's required for the Series X and Series S. It's not required for the PS5, which is fully V-synced. This means in the performance metrics you can see on screen, the game operates somewhere between the high 70s and the 120s. It can sometimes get there in very quiet sections, but often it's in the middle ground of around 80 to 90 FPS. Again, it feels very consistent because the lowest point of the frame rate is the highest point of 16 milliseconds. Most of the time it's 8 milliseconds refresh with a little bit of tearing up and down, which gives you a decent performing title, and it's a great option, but it's arguably there most for the multiplayer choice. Moving away from that option and into the comparison here in like-for-like sections, you can see the PS5 is around 4 to 5% behind the Series X. Again though, with that adaptive VSync off, it's giving the Series X a slight advantage, so with it turned on, it would arguably be the same or slightly worse, the reason why it's enabled. Overall though, they're practically identical in performance metrics, and that means that exact same waterworks section you've just seen on the Series X performs almost identically, arguably ever so slightly worse, on the PS5 because it operates in the same area of 79 to 120 FPS. Again, not a bad performing game by any stretch of the imagination, but it's certainly not close enough to its target of 120 as it is in the 60 FPS mode. Although there is one big benefit of running this 120 FPS mode, and that is on input times. The game is already one of the fastest titles for input times since forever, and with turning on the 120 FPS mode, you can gain back around 35% additional input latency from that controller response. This is the same on the PS5 and the Series X, and it certainly feels crisper to play on a title that already feels as good as it does. So if you are playing single player, I would still recommend the 60 FPS mode on both consoles, but multiplayer, it would always be that 120 FPS mode. Sadly, I can't make the same recommendation for the Series S because arguably there's no reason for this to have a 120 FPS mode. You do not get the benefit of the input times simply because it doesn't hit the input rates it needs. The frame rates itself are around 60 to 70 FPS at most case scenarios I've tested, certainly in the heavier sections, and even then it can dip below 60 FPS, even with the reduction on the image quality. As you would have seen already, the Series X and the PS5 also reduced their resolution in this mode, as does the Series S, now coming in at the same settings and visual quality as the PlayStation 4 at this point. But it still doesn't hit a locked 60, and it's never anywhere near 120 FPS. Sometimes it can be around 50 to 60% slower than the Series X and the PS5 in the same sections, and that means for me it's nothing more than an option here just to turn on if you want to have better input times on the slightly less performance demanding multiplayer mode, and again for that reason it makes sense for the option, but for single player there is no reason to turn this on. And that means we close the video out with a medium to high-end PC spec here using my Zen 3 5600X and an RX 6800 at 4K resolution maximum settings, which can be hard to spot the difference if there are any, and I'm sure there are, between this and the PS5 and Series X. It is nowhere near a locked 60 FPS, and it can dip down to some points into the 40s, which really reinforces the reason why we're seeing this half resolution scaling solution, the reconstruction element on the consoles. But here on PC you can at least have dynamic resolution scaling. As I've covered before in my Uncharted videos, these games all have shader compilation. They've been doing it for years and years and years. Make sure that that is done before you start playing the game, or you will get stutter. As you can see, all my tested sections here have all the shader compilations done, but you're still seeing performance dips, and these come from GPU 99.9% of the time. It's never CPU bound, specifically with my 5600X, but even at 60 FPS on a PS4, it's never going to become CPU throttled. This means that GPU wise it's very demanding. If you turn on dynamic resolution scaling, again in the same heavier waterwork section, then you can get somewhere around those PS5 and Series X levels of 70 to 80 FPS, but that's dynamic scaling from 4K. Be aware there are some bugs on the PC I did note. It crashed a few times going into the menu. The fact that they're all separate entities is very frustrating, so you have to then quit the game to load the single player and quit the game to load the multiplayer. It does it for you, but it adds a huge amount of delay in getting into the title. And then in addition to that, it can have other issues, such as restarting the game can reduce the resolution to down 35% of it, whatever your output is set to, and you have to go back into the menu and turn it back on and drag that menu back up. That is a bug that needs to be fixed, because it'd be quite frustrating when you change game and then realise the image quality doesn't look quite right, and actually it's because you're running around 70% lower resolution than your target output. Never a good choice. Ultimately, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is very much more of the same, and that means if you've got the PlayStation 5, the Series X, the Series S, or a PC, then you're probably not going to be happy that this is utilising your hardware very well, because it really isn't. But that isn't its purpose. Its purpose is to deliver a locked 60 FPS across every platform as possible, and deliver a frenetic, action-packed Michael Bay style single-player campaign, and it ticks that box well. Just don't expect much more than that. And even though the 120 FPS modes are welcome, they're really only good for multiplayer. For single player, I'd stick to 60. And that's it for another video.
You in position?
Nearly there. Got a heli incoming.
That's General Gabrani.
Right on time. Now get up there and let's see what he's up to in the middle of nowhere.
I'm eyes on.
What do you see?
Armed personnel, armor and hardware, all Russian.
What the hell are the Russians doing with Gabrani?
Supplying Iran. It's an arms deal.
You copying this, Shadow One?
Affirmative. 2 birds, 1 stone.
We need positive ID on Gabrani before we kick this off, boys.
Ghost, can you identify the general?
Armed escorts around one VIP. Russians are very happy to see him.
It'll be the last time they do.
Visual on General Gabrani.
Copy. All stations, target confirmed.
Shadow One, you are cleared hot for launch.
Roger that, actual.
Ghost, you are danger close to the zone. This arrow is gonna pack a punch.
Copy approved. Send it.
All stations, Shadow 1. Missile is ready for immediate delivery.
Stand by for launch. Coordinates in. Target designated.
2, 1. Got out! Missile in blue.
Good. Target acquired. This will take some manual guidance to hold it. Missile bearing northeast at 065 degrees at Mach 3. Altitude 500 meters.
Right in the pocket. Stay with it.
Check. Coming in hot. Brace for impact. Time to target. 5 seconds. Termination in 3,
2, 1. Direct. Target destroyed.
Come in. Might as well.
General Shepard.
Oh, I know that look. Are we at war?
You would be the first to know, sir.
Damn right I would. Talk to me.
We have a hit on Gabrani's second in command.
Hassan Zayani, Quds Force Major.
He's taken up the mantle for Iran.
Supplying terrorists.
Money, weapons, intel.
Well, he's ambitious.
He's dangerous, sir. He wants retaliation for the Gabrani strike. He's planning something.
Well, we can't take him in Iran.
He's not in Iran, sir. He's on the ground in Al-Mazrah.
What the hell is he doing in Al-Mazrah?
There is only one way to find out, sir.
Well, let's get him.
When?
loading in now. You and the sergeant are leading the way on this.
Sergeant.
So McTavish.
Let's get ourselves a win, yeah, LT? CDC, sir.
Fucking hell. Ghost, you copy?
Yes, sir.
Any issues?
Negative, sir. Out here.
Airstrikes are hitting enemy positions bordering Al Mazrah. Intel confirms a concentration of AQ fighters converging in the valley. We believe they're protecting something. Surveillance indicates soldiers guarding 3 structures. Major Hassan may be holed up inside. Ghost and Soap will lead a Marine Special Operations unit to kill or capture Hassan tonight. One Hilo will insert 2 teams at separate offset points bordering the target area. Bravo team will sweep and clear buildings 1 and 2. Alpha team takes building 3. All shooters have execute authority, but we want Hassan alive for interrogation. Be advised, Major Hassan is AQ's lifeline. If he is there, they will die for him. Good hunting.
Bravo team offloads here. Alpha team stays on board to land down range. Both teams meet in the middle. Remember, we want Hassan alive, but this is capture or kill. Keep up, Soap.
Razor 1, all Bravo deployed. Secondary HL. All stations, Razor 1 is bracketed. We're getting lit. Incoming! Flares! Flares!
Second missile!
Razor 1 going down! We're going down!
Hold up. Alpha, what's your status? Alpha, how copy?
Bravo! Alpha is immobile. Multiple critical. Shit! We're taking effective fire!
Alpha, we're moving to building 1. Hold tight.
Ghost, we need to secure that crash site now.
First we clear for Hassan. That takes the heat off Alpha. Then we secure the crash site. Clear?
Roger that.
Let's move. Force up to the house. Retrap. Sweep through!
First take clear. Negative on Hassan.
Copy that. Second next.
Roger.
Jack, building 2!
No, we're in. All Bravo, move on building 2.
All stations! Crash site is taking rocket fire from building 2! Second deck!
Alpha, taking building 2 now. Hold fast.
Seven 1, moving interior. Pushing up to second deck. 7-1 moving to second deck.
كل واحد بيمر من هون from here Solid copy. Good work.
The West must pay for a century of hostile acts against us. Together, the death of General Cobrani.
Ghost, building 2 secure.
If the world
Roger.
goes,
Time to hit the crash site.
Got a video for San in
we
here.
will take matters in our
Son's
own
their
hands.
hero.
They're gonna need a new hero.
Of our choosing.
You good, mate?
Yeah, Plate stopped it. These are fuckers that hit Alpha.
Aye. Now we can secure the crash site.
All Bravo, circle up outside.
Ghost, Soap. AQ's working with some good gear.
So, we're moving to the crash site to help the wounded. Rest of you, hold here and cover us. Raj.
Alpha 02, Bravo 07, building 2 secure. We're coming to you.
Alpha copies all. Expect contact. AQ's waiting for us.
Blue, blue! Damn good to see you guys. We got 5 KIA, 1 wounded. It's just my gun, and I'm low on ammo. Help me move him.
No time. They're here. Get your gun on that tree line. Got movement. If you have a shot, take it.
Engage! Shooters in the wall!
You called it, LP.
RPG! Fuck! Get your gun up! Firing!
They're getting close.
Drop one!
Scratch one shooter.
Guard the ramp! Grenade out!
We clear. Stay sharp on that tree line.
They're still moving out there!
7-6, call for fire. I want close air on that tree line.
Raj, calling it in.
Dig in, lads. We're not done yet.
07, CAS is 3 minutes out.
Roger that. Air support's inbound.
Hey, we got smoke at the tree line!
No visual.
Yeah, I don't see shit. Incoming! Take cover! They're launching grenades!
Smoke's wet.
X-ray down! Good hit! Man down! He's dead. Keep your gun in the fight. Only a few left. Pick them off. Reloading! Justice!
No movement.
You good, Soap?
I'm good.
2-3 got hit. He's gone.
7-2, I need you up here now.
Raj, moving.
Ghost, we should fall back to the house. Negative. We hold or we push forward. The SAR's still out there. 7-6, patch us through to air support.
Raj, stand by.
7 actual, Kilo 01. Fire is 1 mic out.
Kilo 01, you're cleared hot on anything forward of our position. Danger close approved.
Roger that.
Shit, what now?
LT, we got armored vehicles incoming. There's 4 of them.
Conserve your ammo. Let them get close.
Here they come.
Stand by to engage.
Get ready.
Calm down.
All Bravo. Kilo 01 is inbound hot. Danger close.
Air support's on station.
Engaging secondary.
here!
Kilo 01, no movement in the area. Thanks for the assist.
Roger that, 7-6. Kilo 01, going into holding pattern.
7-6. Task a bird for casualty evac.
Roger.
Get yourself sorted. The sun is still the target.
Aye. Let's go get this fucker.
Alpha, you're with us.
Roger that, Lieutenant.
Let's move out.
Those fuckers used us as bait, didn't they?
They're well supplied and fighting smart. Thanks to the sun.
Aye. Looks like you were right, LT. You think Hassan's still here?
Heli crash gave them an opening. Let's see if they took it.
Fanboys are still on station.
Keep on standby. We're moving in. Raj. Visual on building 3.
Man down!
HQ sniper on the roof. Get down!
Sniper down!
Who's it?
7-5 is down!
More snipers on the roof. Take them out.
How the fuck are they seeing us? AQ's got night vision! We're sitting ducks out here!
McTavish, shift position.
Got another!
Good shot. So, keep us covered. We're moving out.
AQ's pressing hard. If Hassan's not here, what the hell is?
Get us out here!
We're not getting through here without air support!
7-6, I will fire on that building now!
Ghost, don't know if Hassan's in there!
They're forcing our hand. 7-6, hit that building, but don't level it!
For fire, targeting in the building ahead of us. Do not level the building.
7-6, copy that. Making our run.
Christ for air support!
Yeah, hope Hassan's still in one piece. Several pieces will do. Easier to find that way. All Bravo, move up. I want this building locked down. Lead us in, Sergeant. Let's find Hassan, dead or alive.
7-1, moving interior. Back up! Fucking hell. Close one.
Negative on Hassan.
Alpha's interior, first stack.
Heading into the first.
Check the bodies. Empty on Hassan. Clearing the first deck. Anyone have eyes on Hassan?
Negative on Hassan.
Negative. No eyes on the HVT.
Negative. No visual on Hassan here. Pushing further.
Heading up to the second deck.
Pushing to second deck.
Clear.
Heads up, lads. Sneaky little gets are everywhere.
fell down.
He was here. This is a bloody opposite town. Poke around, so. Look about. See what you can find.
Look, Hassan's uniform. So he was here.
Lost him when we secured the crash site.
Are you saying we shouldn't have helped?
Choices have consequences.
All Bravo, we got movement out here.
On the way. All Bravo, circle up outside.
If Hassan's gone, then what the hell are they still protecting?
Bloody good question. What we got? Warehouse. Roll up doors open. Heard something inside. Copy. Let's clear it.
Contact!
And there you have it, guys. Make sure you guys smash that like, that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you guys can be notified on all of the new latest and greatest news out here in these gaming streets. And if you like to jump into the PlayStation ecosystem, the Xbox ecosystem, or maybe even order games, buy games, pre-order games, check out some of my merch, clothing, just click the links down below in the description. Thank you and peace.